The girl only took one bite of the cake her adoptive father gave her. The next second, she suddenly fainted. When she opened her eyes again, she found herself in a dimly lit operating room, with her beloved family right beside her. Hearing their words, the girl finally realized that her adoptive parents took her in only because her heart was a perfect match for their biological daughter. Now that her heart had already been swapped with hers, there was no need for her to keep living. Before dying, the girl secretly swore that if she could start over, she would never again be used as their tool. Maybe God heard her wish, because the moment she closed her eyes, time suddenly stopped. When she opened her eyes again, she was back to 4 years ago, when her adoptive parents' biological daughter had just returned, and she was being accused of stealing chocolate. Looking at her family scolding her, the girl suddenly found it ridiculous, thinking of how in her past life she gave up everything for them, sacrificing all she had. She realized it wasn't worth it. In this life, she would no longer endure it and chose to fight back directly. She walked right up to the biological daughter, shoved her hard to the ground, and bluntly admitted it was her who pushed. Her second brother, seeing her act like this, couldn't help but step up and question her, asking if she had gone crazy, and then tried to throw her out of the house. Even her father, who used to like her, changed his attitude, demanding she kneel and apologize to his biological daughter. But the girl cut him off, saying she had long stopped wanting to stay here, then turned and left. But her older brother behind her was still deluded, thinking she would definitely come back and apologize. Little did he know, she truly intended to leave for good. After leaving her adoptive parents' home, the girl walked alone in the cold rain. Looking at the jade pendant on her neck, she suddenly remembered overhearing her adoptive mother's conversation in her past life, where she learned she was actually the biological daughter of the richest man. But because they wanted her heart for their daughter, they not only hid the truth from her, but also killed her before she could do anything about it. Thinking about the biological father people spoke of, a cruel and cold-blooded man, the girl hesitated. But with nowhere else to go, she had no choice but to try. So she deliberately ran in front of the man's car, blocking his way. She quickly rushed to the car window and told him she was his biological daughter. But the man didn't believe her and directly ordered the driver to drive away. Watching the car drive away, the girl knew this was her last chance. So she picked up a rock from the ground and smashed the car window. That finally stopped the car from leaving, but she had used up all her strength and fainted again. When she opened her eyes, she found herself in a luxurious room. Realizing what happened, she knew she had succeeded. She carefully ran upstairs like a small animal, exploring her newly discovered territory. But in the living room, she saw the man and his assistant. Frightened, she quickly hid herself, but accidentally overheard them confirming her true identity. What shocked her was, from the man's own mouth, that her mother was actually a con artist. Just as the girl worried the man might hurt her, a dog suddenly startled her, causing her to make a noise. At the same time, the two in the living room noticed her presence. Hearing them call her over, the frightened girl walked toward the man, but his strikingly handsome face left her stunned on the spot. It wasn't until the man spoke that she finally snapped out of it, but before she could say anything, she heard him ask again about her mother. The girl had no choice but to tell him everything she knew about her mother. She begged him not to drive her away. Little did she know, the man had already investigated her background and knew she had suffered in her adoptive home. Faced with her pleading, the man still coldly walked away, but once upstairs, he ordered his assistant to personally make food for the girl. At that moment, the assistant realized the girl had gained the man's approval, but the clueless girl, looking at the million-dollar clothes and jewelry before her, only felt confused. Until the assistant knocked on her door, she came down in her own worn-out clothes to eat. Seeing the million-dollar meal on the table, the girl only asked the maid for porridge. Just then, the man coldly asked her why she wasn't wearing the clothes he bought. Frightened, the girl quickly apologized to him, then went to change clothes. But when she returned, she looked even more uneasy. Still, to thank the man for taking her in, she gathered her courage and picked up the glass of milk in front of her to show her respect for him. But the man carefully noticed that her hand was trembling the whole time. When he asked about it, she told him it was because of an old injury that still hurt. Seeing this, the man immediately walked over to her, picked up the porridge from the table, and fed it to her himself. What he didn't know was that his adoptive daughter, on her very first day back home, had pushed the girl onto broken glass out of jealousy, causing her injury. Because it wasn't treated in time, she still couldn't hold a paintbrush steadily. The next day, her two brothers brought gifts to discuss business with the man, but were shocked to find the girl there too. They thought she had known they would come and was waiting here to apologize. They hoped to take her home with them, but the girl thought they were insane and even let the family dog bite them until both were driven out. When the man heard the news, instead of being angry, he was actually pleased with the girl's actions. But thinking of her trembling hands, he decided to take her to the hospital for treatment and even asked the doctor about rehabilitation exercises. Seeing how gentle the man was, the girl felt deeply surprised. But just as she was about to step forward, she was stopped by several people behind her.